Connecting. Let's see. And we're starting. We are live. We're live,
Hello.
Kelsey. Let's do this
Hi.
thing.
Yes.
Hi. Okay,
Hello.
girl, let's get right into this. Because you and I have been chatting and we're very excited to
hmm
do our Substack live together. Um, so anyone who is popping on now who might not know us, well, I'm Lori Gunning Grossman here with Hold the Light Collective. And I'm here talking with Kelsey. Kelsey, you're a coach. You help
hmm
people envision and shape and execute on their what's next,
Yes.
blending practical and with a spiritual mindset, which I love. You bring in
hmm
some of the spirituality. And I know that
hmm
you have four pillars of your work. What are those four
Yeah.
pillars?
So
Yes.
the four pillars I work with are know who you are, know what you want, know how you want to live, and bring it to fruition. That is every program I have um, splinters off of those pillars, right? They're
Yeah.
all little different. It's all the same interpretation, but it's built. I build programs for different people at different times in their lives, or at different times of the year, based on those principles, which is really about individuation, which is different than individualism. So
Mm.
knowing yourself, like having a good sense of yourself, having confidence in yourself, and then knowing what you want and knowing how you want to live is really about the clarity that comes from knowing what you want in life and how you want to feel and how you want to be living your values, how you
Yeah.
want every action you take to be a physical self expression of who you are.
Mm.
And it brings your mind and your heart into alignment and coherence. And automatically you're living authentically, which I think has become maybe a little bit of a buzzword, but you're
Yeah.
living as yourself. And
Yeah.
that just feels good. And from there, you draw in what is meant for you, but also everything, your thoughts, words, and actions create your frequency, your vibration, which has also become a bit of a buzzword, but your
Yeah.
thoughts, words, and actions are true to yourself. And then when you do that, you bring this life you're seeking or whatever it is, the shift you're trying to make to fruition. And that's the important thing. And that's what I do with people.
I love it. I know that authenticity is a buzzword, and I'm
Mhm.
also loving it. And I've heard about it. Well, I heard about it in a different context. Really
Okay.
quickly, there was a guy who was on a podcast, and he had a near-death experience. He was on the
Oh.
Mayim Bialik podcast. I
Oh,
think his name is Vincent Tolman. I think so. His
okay.
story is wild, and I highly recommend
Oh.
everyone go and listen to it. And he does talk about those. So he has this NDE, goes to
hmm
the other side, you know what I mean? He's off and he
hmm
meets with a guide and he's kind of like being led through lessons and also a beautiful space. And he says to Vincent, "Hey, do you know what you are in this earth plane or on the earth plane to
Yeah.
learn?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Is it love?" Like that's what I would assume. Like we're here to love and we're here to learn
Yeah.
love. And his
Right.
guide said, "No, it's to learn and embrace authenticity. Authenticity is the number
Oh.
one thing." I know, because
Ah.
he said we need to know ourselves first before we can
hmm
know others. We need to love ourselves first before we can love others. Like it's all this like first here, this process before we take it
Yes,
out there. And I
it
was
is.
like, "Oh, I like this definition of it."
It is.
Right?
It really. I mean, I one of my most popular newsletters to date is on have. It's called on having a good sense of yourself. Just
Ooh.
having that good sense of self. That
Hmm.
doesn't mean you have all the answers. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're, omniscient. Like none is all powerful. It is omnipotent. Like none of that.
Yeah.
It's about
Yeah.
just understanding that you can trust yourself and you can handle whatever comes your way. That you can make life work out for you. And we
Mm.
cannot control everything in the world. We all know that.
Mhm.
You can control your thoughts, your words, and your actions to the best of your ability. Whatever comes from them will happen, right? We have to surrender
Yes.
to the outcome to some degree. But at the same time, that is, I agree that authenticity, when you're in that mode, it's easy to love yourself and love
Mm.
others because you're feeling good. When
Mhm.
you love yourself, it's very easy to love somebody else. When you
Yeah.
don't, it's much harder. It's
Yes.
much harder
Yeah.
to do. And I agree. Like that's very interesting about the authenticity comment though, because
I
when
know.
I think of it that way, I completely agree. I think it's hard when people are like, I'm just being my authentic self and they which they're also saying, well, so I don't mind offending you, or I don't mind slighting somebody else. I don't think that's like,
Yeah.
wait,
No.
well, this is supposed to me. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one thing he did bring up, which I was like, oh, it's cool because he was like, I'm authentic, and his guide was like, well, take a look at how you actually are wearing different masks with different people. With my mom,
Hmm.
I act like this. With my friends, I act like this. With my boss, I act like this, and there are so many ways that we do it, but maybe don't think we're doing it, but we are. So I love that you work
Right.
with people on this too, like know yourself.
Just know
Um,
who you are. And knowing
know
who
who
you
you
are does
are.
not mean that, and yes, and it doesn't mean some deep internal investigation that goes
Mhm,
on and on. It just means
mhm,
understanding what you value and where you want to put your time and energy. And you do have to, when you're in a professional setting, I would, mask up. I don't know if I would say that, but you do have to assume a certain um, set of expectations and
yeah.
norms. Like you do have to,
Yes. Right. Right.
there are
Right.
times when
Yes.
we all have to be polite with strangers and we all have to be
Yes.
hard with our parents or whatever it is. That's
Right.
okay. But that's a, it's different between just understanding what's expected in the moment and masking and
Mm,
posturing and being
mm,
performative. And that's the performative, especially. And I think that's really hard because we see this online world has brought a lot of influencers into the spotlight, and
mm.
there's a lot of performance there, and that's okay until it becomes disingenuous, but then people think it's real. Like it's tricky, and they think their authenticity should look like someone else's when really it's really just having a good
Ooh.
sense of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's so cool. Well, okay, so there are a couple things that you and I wanted to talk about today. Number one
Mhm.
is we want to talk about giving ourselves small wins towards our bigger goals. So we're going to talk about that.
Mhm.
We're going to talk a little bit about the trap of falling into daydreaming and how
Yep.
that affects, our goals and our visions, and how if we have time for all this, how stability and structure are the doorway to freedom. But
Yes.
first, maybe just a quick peek, because you do bring this into your Substacks and your podcast, a little bit about astrology and the energy of what is happening right
Yeah.
now.
So I take like a very Jungian approach to the big energies, which is that it's very important that we understand them. They are not in control of our lives. We are in control of our lives. So, however, we are living in this giant energy grid that goes beyond many dimensions that any of us can see with our eyes. So we should know what's going on because the energies at play do shape the world around us, and that reverberates into our own lives. If you are not
Mm,
affected by world events, as we'll just say, and it can be affected in any way, then you must be living in a cave. Like everybody feels something all the time. If this energy grid, if we're all connected to one another, which we are through our heart chakras, through our heart threads, then the energy exchange is ongoing with the entire world. So that said, astrologically, astrology is geometry, which is great. So you're dealing with alignments and planets. You're not dealing with too much interpretation. You're dealing with actual data. And we have always said 2026 was going to be a big game changer year. And
mm.
we have been through 5 months of this year, and it feels like I've lived a lifetime. I don't know about you,
Yeah.
right? We've had all the outer planets move. We're in a whole new cycle. Pluto and Aquarius is rolling, power back to the people for the next 25 years. There is just so much going on. And a lot
Mm,
of these big movements happen in January, February, in April. And now we have May and June, which are calmer months, busy months, calmer. And then we next month, July, is another big month of shifting energies.
mm,
And then August is eclipse season. By the end of eclipse season, when that closes out the end of September, we're going to spend the next 3 months kind of just recalibrating, integrating to the best of our ability because we are all going to be a little flattened by all that's been going on.
mm.
This is not bad. But it's one of those years, well, none of us will be in the same place that we started. And while it can be fun and exciting and also be a little daunting because we went through years of alignments that were fairly calm. I mean, it's never totally calm, but like in the sense that we can all point to years in our life when things didn't change very much. And
Mm.
now we're in a very volatile period and it's reflected on the world stage. Everything has its own chart. So world astrology is different than personal astrology. However, the big themes from the outer planets are the same.
Mm.
So, we're all getting a little bit of life makeover. And this
Yeah.
isn't anything to be scared of, but when I'm coaching people, this is very important for me to know because I don't expect my clients to study astrology. That would be way too much. And I study with our mutual shared teacher, Carissa, spirituality. And Yeshua talks about all the big cords that are being pulled and the veils that are being lifted. And I love knowing this information because I would never expect one of my clients to be sitting there looking into this. It's too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Like I'll bring the data to you that you need to know. However, all year so far, all of my clients and I coach many different people on many different there are many different areas of life. Like some are in corporate, some are at home, so like all different ways of living, but they all have that same consciousness, which is they're looking for a little more clarity and some structure and freedom in their lives.
Mm. Mm.
And everybody has been shocked by the amount of change that has been introduced into their lives. Sometimes without their control, sometimes they've introduced it and that's been good. But I was like, you have to understand that is this year.
Mm.
2026 is just a year of change. And so long as you work with the energies as like harness it, which just means using your thoughts, words, and actions to remain open-minded, to stay true to yourself, all the things, love, trust the process, do your part, you will be fine. Everything will be
Mm.
fine. If you
Yeah.
resist change this year, especially, it's going to be forced upon you, and that can be a little more painful. Like, that can be
Yeah.
harder, it can
Yeah.
be harsh.
Yes. So you said, and I want to get this into like having a vision that we may all have for ourselves, like whether it's
Mhm.
business or just how we want to be conducting our lives, because not everyone has to be in business. I'm imagining not everyone you
No,
work with, right?
no.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no, no.
Yeah, yeah. But just thinking about like how you said, and I think I heard you say this, that like by the end of this year, we are gonna look different to ourselves or it's gonna feel different.
Yes.
Yes.
Everything. And I think
Yeah.
I think we it's funny in coaching because people will talk about what they want, and I'll say, "Well, how do you want to feel?" Right?
Yes.
And not
Yeah.
in the therapeutic sense, but, that a lot of what we think we want is because what we think what we want will get us how we want to feel.
Yes,
Right?
right, right, right,
So,
yeah.
that's why people will get tied to certain objects or certain places or certain things. And that's okay. I don't because they're probably right. If they have this, they will feel better. But you have to understand that what we're all always going for is how we want to feel on the inside, which is loved, trusted, settled, grounded, all those kind of stuff. So, yes, we this year it's very hard for all of us to see the far horizon because there's
Mm,
just been so much change and every time we think we can settle into a new rhythm it shifts again, and
yeah,
that's okay. Yeah.
yeah. So you had mentioned to me the term, or I don't know if it's something you came up with or if it's the thing, the daydreaming trap. So if we're
Yes.
like, the end of this
Mhm.
year, this is going to be like this for me, or I want to do this, or I have this idea. What's the daydreaming trap that comes with
The
this?
daydreaming trap is funny. It's often where a lot of my clients find me is that they are like, "Well, I want this, I think, and I feel
Mm,
that I would feel better if I had this, or I can't quite see." There's like this like fuzziness, this lack of clarity on what to do next.
mm,
But
mm,
like beyond that, like what to do next, there's this like vague daydream that feels really good, right? So, but like that kind of how do you close that gap between your reality and your daydream? It's a gap, like it's a gap. It's a complete
mm,
blank space. So they're sitting there like, well, what do I do next? And then life happens because I don't nobody I coach stops their lives to work with me. You're doing this in the context of your daily life. And they end up having they get stuck in this pattern of just daydreaming and thinking like, "Oh, if I could only have this," or, switch a job or achieve something in my workspace or,
mm,
find this purpose in my home life or whatever it is. Like people have nutrition goals, and I'm not a nutritionist, but people have different goals they set for themselves that are what they need to help them live with more meaning and fulfillment. So I help them get to where they want to go. But the daydreaming trap is when you dream of the end result and there is no action in between to get you there,
mm,
right?
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we need action. We need to be
Yes.
doing
Exactly. We need
all the
structure. We
time.
need yes, we need not action as in force action, but say you
Yeah.
wanted to pick up a new sport, right? Or say you wanted to, you know, set your sights on a promotion at work or start your own business. I'm trying to think of examples of former clients of mine and current clients of mine. You know, people set, they all have very specific goals for themselves. You want to learn a new
Yeah.
instrument, something, anything like that, which is
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's a great daydream. And it may be fuzzy, like what instrument? I don't know. What do I want to do? Like what sport do I want to play? Whatever. Or maybe it's clear and that's fine. But then you have to start, look at that big goal you have and start setting smaller goals that will lead you to it. Because to say, I
Um,
want to master a new sport is great, but that
yeah.
could take years, right? So,
Yeah.
what do? You need to maybe find a place to take lessons. You need to buy some equipment. Like, there are all these different things that you need to do to lead you to where you want to go. And even this can translate across anything. Like, for a client looking for a corporate promotion, well, you want to be
Mm.
at this level, but what do you have to achieve, or what new consciousness do you even have to embody to get there to where you
Ooh.
want to go,
Yeah. Oh, that's a
right?
big one. Yes, of course.
Yeah, and that doesn't take, that's a big word. Like that doesn't take, like that's not one day. It's not like, oh, I just do a meditation and I'm embodying my future self. Like that is a, like that takes a lot of action and a lot
Yeah.
of work. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm very much about the practical action. You've got to set small goals to lead you to your bigger goals. And when you hit these small goals, set some more and just keep
Mm.
rolling them up and rolling them up and rolling them up. You know, I also use like the metaphor I use a lot is this is staircase, right? You
Mhm.
just keep
Yeah.
one step at a time, get comfortable on the new step, get to where you need to go. And when you hit the next edge, you know it's time to up level again. And
Yeah.
it's just not a magical moment. Like it is your own internal and external work that will get you to the next step on the staircase.
Ooh,
Mhm.
responsibility for ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Not always easy. Yes, but yes.
No, no. So then one thing that is important in all of this, and this is something you had
Mhm.
mentioned, is stability and structure. And that is how
Yeah,
I think I heard you say in another conversation we had, like that's what actually creates more freedom for people, which I think,
exactly.
again, maybe we've talked about this, but like that seems a little counterintuitive to
I know.
a spiritual life, but like,
Yes.
yeah. So
Right.
tell me a little bit about that, like like how structure and stability is a doorway to freedom.
Right. So structure is the best thing in your life if you want freedom. Like I know again,
Ooh,
so counterintuitive, but it
yeah,
creates freedom because it gives you guideposts, right?
yeah, yeah,
Along your path. And
yeah,
that is, and this is the thing I see with a lot of my clients in the daydreaming trap. They have
yeah.
these things they want to come to fruition. They kind of have a good sense of themselves. They know what they want. They know what they want to live, but the bringing it to fruition part is lost on them because where is the accountability structure? Where are the steps you're going to start taking? And people will then list steps that are pretty large. I'm like, no, we can do micro, small
Mm,
daily steps, one right action every single time. That is structure. And then you have to look at your life realistically. Like if you are in corporate and you're looking for a promotion, you're not going to set aside all your current corporate responsibilities to go for this promotion. You're going to incorporate this goal into your day. And if you're at home and you're looking for something, you're going to have to give yourself a time block, right? Maybe a
mhm,
certain hour or a set of hours or minutes, whatever, during the day to do certain tasks that are going to lead
mhm,
you toward your goal. But
mhm,
that is structure. Structure should work within your life. It takes a degree of self-discipline, a healthy
mhm,
degree of self-discipline. It should never feel like punitive or rigid, but you do have to make the time for what you want to do and what you want to get done, and that's enough. Then you're going to have the compound effect when the action you take will keep adding up, and you will eventually see the rewards or this movement forward or the synchronicity or whatever will come through because you have taken the time to do the work. And that is how structure gives you freedom. Because if you
mhm.
have too much freedom and no structure, I mean, it's very easy to just get like a little bit of
Oh,
like a magpie, right? You're
yeah.
like, all
Yes,
the shiny
yeah.
objects and all the responsibilities. And, you know, I have days that are unstructured. And there are some days still, and I'm very good at managing my time, that I will reach the end of the day and I'm like, what did I do today?
Same. I
I get
know. Same.
lost.
Yes, I
Yes.
know. Yes. Yeah.
You
I feel the
know?
same way. And
Yes.
especially I think for people who have a lot of things they want to do, not just life stuff
Mhm.
too, not just like
Right.
relationships and taking, I don't know, home, walking the dog, but like business or ideas or dreams and then how each one of those has so many different aspects to it. I
Yeah.
too I too could get to the end of the day and be like, I've worked all day. What did I do? But
Yeah.
that panics me when I do feel like that. I'm just like, oh no.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's why having some structure with a little bit of self-discipline, you can say like, "Okay, this is what I'm gonna do today." Like, "This is
Yeah.
my workout today," or "This is my business goal today," or "This is what I'm gonna do on
Yes.
social media today," or whatever it is you're going to
Yeah.
do. Here are the 3
Yeah.
things I'm going to do that are gonna move the needle significantly,
Yeah.
and that's enough. And the structure has to change depending on where you are
Mhm.
in life.
Right.
It changes from season to season,
Yeah.
so certainly,
Yes.
like mhm,
Yeah. I just joined because I work out of my home, and I just
mhm,
joined a membership where you can go and work with other people, like, a workspace, a
nice,
shared workspace.
nice.
Just like 2 days a week, I'll be going just to get
Mhm.
me, because I know that once I'm there, that's like literal structure. And, to be
Right.
around other people are working instead of being distracted by my dog or dishes or whatever. It's like
Yes.
I need to have something like that.
Yes, exactly, and that's what, and some people don't work well with a lot of structure, big offices have lots of structure to them, but they have
Mm,
to because it gives the business freedom to run too, and it gives everybody
yeah.
it creates efficiency. So
Yeah.
there's that, but yes, for people who work from home, myself included, I I have structure to my day, and now the
Mhm.
summer has started, I'm gonna have to restructure it because my kids' schedules are always a little different, but I have learned how to do that. That has taken a lot of time to learn because I used to just wanna, maintain my structure all year
Yeah.
long, and that's not how
Yeah.
life rolls with me. So,
Yeah.
that's where I
Yeah.
am right now, but yes, that little bit of structure creates it just makes all the difference.
Yeah. So when you're
Mhm,
working with people and they have a
mhm,
goal, they want to work on something, they have an idea,
mhm.
and how are you seeing these people voting against themselves? What does that look like? Why do we
What
do this?
I find that people I find that people, and I love a lot of people I know and I love have big dreams for themselves. And I love that, and myself included, right?
Mhm,
Oh, I have
mhm.
this idea that I should, or I'd be good at, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, and then they
Yeah.
back themselves out of that dream in a minute, but it could
Oof.
never work because.
Yeah.
And people just will vote against themselves in that way. And okay, so psychologically could go down the rabbit hole. Is this core wounds? Is this limiting beliefs? Is it blocks? Maybe, I don't know. But I think honestly, it's just overwhelm. It's just when you
Mm.
see a beautiful big idea that would work so well and you could see it happening in your mind's eye, yet the thought of getting there is so overwhelming, you will vote against yourself and you will come up with all the reasons why climbing that mountain will be impossible. And that's why, when the first step seems too big, people will back down.
Mm.
It's very few
Mhm.
people in this world that are like, "Well, I'm just gonna do it anyway." That's not
Yeah.
human nature does not tend to run in that direction, especially with women, especially when there are other responsibilities at home and in life, right? How many of us
Yeah.
have, a bottomless bank account and complete green lights in every direction and their responsibilities? Pretty much none of us,
Yeah.
right? So, right, so we all have things we have to deal with, and that means we have to be realistic about where we are and how much time we have. And that's the thing, I think people think they're being realistic, but they're actually voting against themselves when it really
Mm.
nobody who has gotten to achieving their big dreams, and to be clear, that does not mean you're a billionaire with a huge company. It could be any dream you want. You could be living in the
Mhm.
country with your animals, I don't care. But people who have these dreams get intimidated and overwhelmed and don't go for them at all, and that's what makes me sad,
Mm.
or maybe they can't see that there are other ways that it could work out that they don't necessarily know that they could be open to, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's tie this in then to what you
Mhm.
are working on this summer starting in
Yeah,
July, 'cause,
right.
where it's basically like how you're working with people to have maybe like one, maybe two goals that you're helping people
Mhm.
set and see a difference in their life by September
Right.
1st. So like you are actually
Right.
helping people break it down. So
Yes.
that's a whole thing that you are launching in July. What is this called? What is it called?
Yes, I'm launching it at the end of I'm gonna open it up at the end of June. I'm calling it Your Summer Win, a practical, method to achieving one goal this summer, and it really is for
Mm, mm,
people
mm.
who are struggling to figure out their next steps, right? Mostly people in business or in the business world or some degree who professionals who don't want to and can't afford to drop the ball this summer,
Mm.
but really struggle with trying to marry their work schedule or their ambitions with the summer reality, right? So they
Yeah.
need some structure to create some freedom for themselves. They need time set aside. They can focus on this one goal. And I'm all about simplicity. I have a very simple method for working on this one goal so that by the end of or mid August, you end up being like, oh gosh, I did it. It was achievable. It was attainable. I made the time and I made it happen. And come Labor Day, I don't have this guilty feeling and disappointment in myself that I let summer kind of pass me by, or I was stuck in the daydreaming trap for the entire summer, or I'm just trying to figure it out. As a lot of people say, I'm just trying to figure things out. Well,
Yeah.
if you're just trying to figure things out, this is a great time to do it. Summer is actually a great time to figure things out. Like maybe
Mm.
if you could take a walk and just, and not everything, you're not gonna figure out your whole life in one day, but you do have to think about, okay, professionally, this is the one thing I want to work on right now, and that's going to move the needle significantly, make a big change in my professional world and my personal world. In September, I'm going to be set up like chef's kiss, right? That
Yes.
is what we are looking for instead of that September scramble where I have found myself before, where summer kind of imploded because I was trying to do all the things I usually do, like on top of a summer schedule that was wonky with kids and loose schedules and bedtimes are off and everything. And then by the end of August, I'm like, forget it. I'll deal with it
Yeah.
next month. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
love the sound of this program, and I love that, you mentioned the word simplicity, like, you like to keep it
Mhm.
simple and
Yes.
attainable, yeah. So, before we go here, is there
Mhm.
one thing for anyone who's watching now or gonna watch later in the replay, is there, like, one exercise that someone could maybe start to get their juices going or that you can share with people?
Yeah. Yes. What I would say if you're sitting there thinking, okay, I do need a little more clarity. And clarity just means it's like cleaning your glasses, right? Like
Mm,
give your glasses a clean. You can see a little more clearly the road ahead. You can't see your whole life. You don't have control of your whole life. We just want to see the next step, right? That's what we're looking for. Everything's just fuzzy. Will someone just tell me what to do? That kind of, if you're in that mindset,
mhm,
put yourself ahead in Labor Day and just ask yourself, if I accomplished, if this one thing was done by the end of the summer, what would it be that would make me happy and proud and set me up for fall? One thing. That's
mm,
all you need to think about right now. What is that one thing that is going to be the game changing move? If everything else has to fall by the side or I have to prioritize, there's one thing that I'm really struggling with. Like, I really want this purpose. What do I really want to work on? Think about that and write it down because goals are not built out of thin air. Like we built people have to build their goals around their life priorities,
mm,
right? And they're
mhm.
fantasies and daydreams too, but really if you have a fantasy you're going to start to build a goal around, you're giving yourself a to-do list to bring that fantasy to life, right? And that's okay. You know,
Yeah.
fine. Like that's totally fine, but goals we can think we need to set goals based on what we see from other people, but I always have people set goals based on what they want to feel and how they want to be living. And when you get into that mode, you start to see what your goals in life really are. So if
Yeah.
even if you want to feel like professionally, you want to feel more grounded by the end of the summer, you want to feel
Mm.
like there's one project you want to get off your plate, or there's one project you want to pursue. Um, if you want to, iron out what a business you would own would look like. This could be a good summer to work on a business plan. We
Mm.
actually have a lot of good energy available to us in the summertime when things are looser. It can be a little bit
Yeah.
of a scramble, but it's like a little less rigid. So the sun is up later. Well, you're on our hemisphere at least. So like,
Yeah.
so like it's a good time to lean into that a little bit too.
Yeah. Is there one
Yeah.
thing that you feel like you tend to hear across the board from people is how they want to feel? Are there some keywords that you're like, oh, I hear a lot of
Yes. I
freedom
hear
or whatever? Yeah.
yes. Like when people are things are fuzzy and they feel confused about their next steps, they think they want a certain thing, but everybody wants to feel grounded and stable. And because that
Mm,
is safety,
mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
I think especially when you're maybe an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter what it is that you do, but you have that grounded stability and safety when you are settled in yourself and your goals and working towards them. And it doesn't feel safe or stable when you're trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
The corporate
Yeah.
world, even people think of it as being stable and safe, but it can be hard too, right? Everything is changing with AI.
I know.
People are worried, well, okay, so I say, okay, it's here to stay. What do you want next? Or what do you want? Where do you want to go in your professional career? Because when you can find that in yourself and you can set these goals outside of yourself, you can usually make something happen that is related to that, or at least you have
Yeah.
something to pursue. And it might take a year to pursue it. It might take a year to accomplish it. That's okay. Timing is
Mm.
different for everybody. This isn't like
Yeah.
magical thinking. This is not like a genie in a bottle kind of summer.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's so
Mhm.
exciting though to hear or to think
Yeah.
about the many people who have an idea, a dream, something they wanna do, something they wanna try, and move
Mhm.
forward with it,
Yeah.
you
It is.
know? Yeah, it's like we all know that feeling when we've accomplished something, when we have told ourselves we were gonna do something, and then we follow through on it. It's such a good feeling, no
Exactly.
matter the size of
Such a
it.
good feeling.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, and that's how we learn to trust ourselves, honestly. Like,
yeah,
we do it with our kids all the time, like, try new things, accomplish them,
yeah,
pat them on the back. But even this with, like, professional stuff or whatever it is that you're doing, like, your purpose is there, and there's always a next step. There's always a next way forward, none of us are stagnant. The horizon only ends where we stop looking for it, right? When we stop
mm,
walking. So, we can do with this life what we want to, and we should set goals around what we seek, what we want, how we want to feel, and get into that energy. And and then the clarity comes through the action. But what I'm doing this summer with my clients starting in July, and I'll open this up for enrollment at the end of June, is really you set some goals and then you take action to get the clarity too. So you get the
mm,
feedback. You learn how to read the feedback patterns.
yeah.
And you just, that's how you one put in front of the other, and that is how you start to bring things to fruition.
One foot in front of the other.
Yes, yes, that's it.
Yes, it's just like that
Yep.
song in that Christmas show with the big "Put one foot in front of the other." Well, I love all of this so much, Kelsey. You're so clear and you're so grounded, and yet you also have that powered by soul. You like this
Yes.
spiritual
Right.
undercurrent, which is so beautiful. I think
Yeah,
so many
we
people
need it.
who are already on this path and waking up to this path, and that you are helping
Yep.
people. So, how can people get on any list you have to find out when you open the doors to your summer program?
So it'd be following or subscribing to a Substack will be the best thing right now. I'm
Okay.
opening, yes, and I'll send you the link. I'm opening my Soul portal soon, and that will also have an email sign up. And then at the end of June, I'm going to open it up and I can do some calls or voicemails with people. It's very simple. It's 4 weeks, a very simple and effective structure for bringing this goal you're focusing on to fruition and just giving you that clarity. So come September, life kind of resumes a little sense of normality. You feel good, life feels good, you have your focus. There might be
Mm.
some more things you want to add in because the method's repeatable, but you are still moving forward to where you want to go, and that is what we're looking for.
It's so good, and I love that there's an
Yeah.
accountability factor. People show up
Yes.
together, right? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Always accountability. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so good.
All right.
Send it to me too, and I'll share it in my newsletters as
Okay.
well, because
Thank you.
I'm a
Thank
fan.
you.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
my
you so much. All
friend.
right. Thanks, Lori.
Thank
This was
you.
fun.
This was fun. You know what?
All
We're going to
right.
be talking more and more and more and more. So,
Oh, for
yes.
sure.
Okay, my
It
friend.
was fun.
Yes,
Thank
it was.
you.
I'll see you later.
Okay. Mhm.
Bye.
Bye.